Hello, so since Dante's Hero of the Month, I thought I should do a video on him. So if it's day 7 of the month, you'll actually get the hero. So if you haven't summoned him yet, this will summon him for you. I recommend always summoning your heroes through this one rather than trying to get the souls and summoning them, because you'll actually get a bonus. Because it costs 30 souls to summon Dante. However, if you already have Dante, you'll just get 18 souls instead of 30. So you'll short yourself 12 souls by just summoning them yourself instead of summoning them through this. So keep that in mind. So Dante is agility here, a marksman. Let me find him in my list. He's probably in the very bottom here. Here he is, level 1. Dante says, everything has its price, even the human soul, but our hero loves a bargain. He'll gladly take it for free. Don't worry, Dante will take care of your soul as if it was his own. He's a marksman. His main stat's agility. Probably the most important thing to note about Dante is his artifact list, which we'll talk about first. So his artifact weapon, Seer Fate, it adds dodge. It's one of just 3 heroes in the game who can buff dodge along with Aurora and Heidi. And this is the main value he brings, is being able to buff dodge, which is one of the most powerful buffs in the game, as it's really good versus physical attacking teams. His other artifact is a health dodge artifact for him. This is also a good artifact for Dante. And then his other one is an agility ring. This can help his 2-hit ratio versus other dodge heroes. Or like I said, this can be really good because Aurora tends to be ubiquitous on the higher levels as well as under Dante, so having high agility is good. So, I mean, like I said, our priority is probably going to be the weapon first, and then it really depends. I mean, like I said, the agility ring is probably more important in the book, though the book's pretty good. But the weapon definitely go first. And then he has skins. He has 5 skins. First skin you should do is definitely his romantic skin, because dodge is probably his main thing, or you go into armor pen. It just really depends how you're playing. If you're trying to tank with him, you do want the dodge first, though. I kind of don't think Dante's that great of a tank, and I think for most players, you want to put him behind a tank and then use armor pen skin, but some people do use him as a tank, especially in the high levels, but dodge is his main mitigation stats. Physical attack's good. Health, yeah, not as important. That's probably the last one you would do. Agility maybe even before physical attack, just so you can increase his 2-hit ratio. The armor pen, dodge, those would be the first 2. You can decide how important dodge is to you. And then probably agility, then physical attack, then health. Glyphs, you got armor pen, you got dodge, you got agility, you got physical attack, and you got armor. So pretty much same thing. Same as the skins. You would probably do armor, pen, and dodge first, and then agility, physical attack, then armor last. Let's see. Skills. We didn't talk about skills. I'm going to say. So Instrument of Fate. He throws 4 spheres at multiple enemies, dealing physical damage, pushing targets back. So against a team of 5, this will hit the first 4 heroes, so you will not hit the very back hero. This is also something to keep in mind when fighting Dante. Say you're using Lars or something. If Lars is in the 5th spot, Dante won't attack Lars until one of your other heroes dies with this ability. Foresight, this increases all allies' dodge by 5 seconds. It's a passive. This is ability that activates once in a while. It gives them a dodge boost. It's pretty nice. Retribution, when dodging damage over 5% total health, Dante conjures Spectral Sphere and throws it to the nearest enemy. So that he'll throw like I said, if he dodges damage, this physical hit, if he dodges a physical hit, he conjures Spectral Sphere and throws it at the nearest enemy. This makes him good versus other physical attackers. Shackles of Weakness, when the Spectral Sphere, Minister of Fate or Retribution hits an enemy, Dante decreases the target's main stat by 5 seconds. This one's kind of meh because Sebastian's ubiquitous and he blocks and cures the status effects. Nebula and Celeste can also do that. Yes, it reduces their main stat, but should increase his ability to hit them or whatever, to do crits and stuff. But if you have a crit butt critter with him like Sebastian, but most parts status effects like this, they get repelled pretty easily by Sebastian. So this one's not that great. I mean, for Violet effects, he's one of the few heroes where the Violet ability might be the worst one in his kit. A lot of heroes with Violet ability is the game-changing one. For Dante, it's literally the worst one in his kit. Then his Ascension, he doesn't have any like special abilities. He's on the Marksman branch, which is pretty good. Provides armor pen and stuff for him, physical attack. And then Ascension 1 is pretty much, you got a lot of dodge, armor pen, and agility. Physical attack. You got some armor buffs too, which is actually surprising. Surprised he got some armor buffs when he has dodge. Probably don't need a lot of armor buffs, but they are there. Doesn't have a lot of magic def buffs though. There's one. Like he has like 2 mag def buffs in the entire thing, so doesn't get a lot of magic defense. And this kind of, I think, probably comes to like where Dante's biggest weakness. It's not so much a weakness, is that the reason people ask me why I don't invest in Dante, and that's because there's a hero who is better than Dante in pretty much every way magical, and that's Aurora. Like, she also buffs dodge for the entire team. She has a lot more health, and she has Rainbow Halo, which gives her the best magic mitigation in the game. Like, you know, Dante is good versus physical attackers, Aurora is good versus physical attackers and magic attackers. So it's kind of like, you know, Dante is definitely one of the better heroes in the game. He's definitely probably the second best physical attacker in the game after Ishmael, but yo, Aurora kind of just has his number. Like, Aurora beats Dante. Like, if you need to beat Dante, Aurora is probably one of the best counters for him. But if you want to run, say, like, you just want to, like, so teams, like, take any line you would run Aurora at the front. Like, whatever, like, whether it be, like, a trifecta killer or whatever. Like, or whatever. Like, let's use Dante up front, though. Let's try using Dante in that same line. And since Dante is far in front of the back, he's a bit more limited. Like, you could put him with, like, a Yasmin or something and have him actually be in front of her. So he's a bit more limited that way, like, if you were trying to tank with him. And I don't recommend tanking with him, but a lot of people do try it. Like, if you have, let's say we put in Celeste, obviously you'd put Sebastian, since he's always, like, an auto-include. Sebastian. I wish they would give us more sorting options, because they really need to do that. And then you probably want that. Let's just say we're putting Ju here too. Why not? Right, and here's the thing about like a line like this. This line is probably pretty good. And you might think it's good versus like I said, let's do like a Trinity Twins team, like especially in Guild War defense where it's manually, like Dante really struggles as a tank. Because you can then hold back Sebastian's Ode to Serenity. But one thing I do bring in versus Dante is Kayn is the pet, because Kayn has a has a dodge buff that is active from the beginning of the fight. Right, so there you go. Right, part of like what makes Dante a problem with like say an Isaac line is that Dante, right, he ends up allowing Sebastian to Ode really quickly. So putting him with Isaac is not always the best thing. Sometimes it works. We're gonna see if we get a win here. So this is max testing, so the Lars I feel is like overdeveloped. Like I said, so I might not be able to win with the max Lars. It's missing max Lars. Like I said, my Lars probably would have ulted already, but yeah, no, this is actually gonna be a loss. Was close though. We can try that again, like. But he does have some value that way. I just think most of the time you'd be better off running Aurora in a line like that. We'll try this line one more time. Just because, like, it's just, there are some randomness there with the dodge. But this Lars right here, I think, is just a bit too tough for what I'd say is usability. There we go. So that was a win. Like I said, I knew that I could beat that line. But that's kind of like the downside is that one, Dante can activate Ode to Serenity a lot quicker, which actually makes him worse with like Isaac. Iris kind of runs that same problem with Isaac. It's one of those things. But if you ran like Aurora in that same line, what did we run? Ju, Isaac, Sebastian. See, she probably has that. So let's try this. Like, this is probably going to be a bit tougher. Oh, we have Albus here. I grabbed the wrong pet. Shoot, let's make that if I grab the wrong pet. Should be Axel, not Albus. They're right next to each other. That's the wrong pet. We gotta redo this test so it's the same. Changing one of the variables like that isn't very good. But we'll run this here. Like, and we'll run the Trinity Twins again. This time, like, you wouldn't green Cain versus Aurora, but you would versus Dante because Aurora does magic damage, so Cain will not protect you. That's another like battle strategy. Is I said Cain's probably the best anti-physical damage pet, especially if you're using Aurora as your tank or possibly Dante. But Axel's your best anti-mage pet. The other pet I would use in combat versus some teams like is Chorus. I use Chorus a whole lot. Especially like if versus Arachne and Leanne, almost always use Chorus, but it just really depends what they have. But again, like this is, we'll see if we can actually get Ode to Serenity off, because Aurora's probably not going to help Sebastian too much. Okay, we got it off. That's also why you run a manual. Like if you run an auto, you're much more likely to trigger Isaac early. But should be noted that Aurora has like the game's best magic mitigation, made all the better when paired with Isaac. And it's really hard, like I said, I mean, this is a lot more of a route than that first loss I did against the Dante team. Like I said, Aurora is usually better than Dante in most lines. Like there are times where you would use Dante. Dante can be good versus certain lines. But overall, the biggest thing against Dante is like, why invest in Dante when you can invest in Aurora? That's always been my question about him. It's why my Dante is level 1. People are like, why don't you invest in Dante? He's good. I'm like, yes, he is actually a very good hero. Physical attackers are, like I said, they have a huge issue though, in that dodgers, like Dante, actually hose him, and Aurora does magic damage. You know, it's just one of those things. Like if he did magic damage or pure damage, he would probably be a lot better. But it is what it is. He's still a really good hero, and if you've invested in him, he's still like an A tier, like B tier type hero. He might not quite be S tier, but he's still like second best physical attacker after Ishmael. Anyway, if you want to know more about Aurora, please check the video below. Thanks for watching.